Alright, good morning, cadets. We're going to go over intro to maps for anybody that wants to do the orienteering team, and it's good knowledge for the rest of you. That'll be the leadership lab for today. Let's see how this goes. Alright, without discussion, obviously, what do you want you to think about reading different types of maps? What do you associate with a map? Colors, maybe that you see green on the map here, maybe vegetation, trees, forest, something like that. You see roadways, looks like bodies of water, the blue, looks like some ponds or lakes. So think about what do you already know about maps, how do you use maps, and think of how we can use that for orienteering. We're going to have you determine your distance, direction, and the basics of reading a map. In terms of a topographic map, it has contour lines that shows elevation, so some of that will involve you need to know where are the hills, where might a cliff be, avoid that, but understand how steep things might be, find an easy route, things like that. All right, first off, what is a map? If you look here, the definitions, looks like C provides you the best definition: a line drawing of a portion of the Earth's surface drawn to scale as seen from above. Modern technology, a lot of times, if you use like Google Earth, we're able to see satellite information. So, hold on.
Students, please report to the auditorium.
Okay. Student learning plan. Ultimately, at the end of this, you need to be able to answer that question there. What is needed to determine direction and distance between two locations on a map? And then for the orienteering competition, you're going to figure out how to actually turn that into reality. You and a partner covering the right distance and going the right direction to be able to find the various points out on the course. Looks like we'll be going to North Park on the 18th of October. It's a Sunday afternoon. More information to follow on that. Again, that's voluntary if you want to participate in the orienteering team. It does get you a ribbon and a cord. So if you are a full-blown cadet and a new one, that could be your very first award. Identifying and recognizing something you've accomplished. Participating students can also participate. Okay, key words. We'll go through that with the vocabulary at the end. Learn symbols, colors. Well, we already hit some of that, just looking at the map that was presented. Determine what information can you get from different types of maps. All right, different features. We talked about that a little bit already. Think about why are maps useful? Help you determine where you are, maybe where you're trying to go. Find different information, things that might help you. I know on the farm I use maps quite a bit, both for what we do on the farm, trying to identify better areas where for maybe hay or for a crop, something like that. But also where can I not have those things? So what else do I want there? Maybe a forested area on steep slope areas. Okay. Types of maps. You have city or state road maps. You have geographic maps or atlases, and then topographic maps. Those are the ones I was referring to. That's what we're going to use for orienteering competition, because that has the contour lines that allow you to determine elevation, steepness, things like that of the terrain around you. So terrain, landforms, we'll get into that later as far as hills, ridges, valleys, things like that. How do you see that from a 2D paper or digital version as opposed to what is actually out on the ground? Okay, here's a road map. In this case, the state of Virginia. You still see some things from that, even though it doesn't have contour lines. You get an idea. The Appalachians run through the western part of Virginia. Of course, then West Virginia up into Pennsylvania here. And you get an idea as it moves closer. It appears to be flatter and greener as it gets closer to the Chesapeake Bay and then the Atlantic Ocean out here. So there's a fair amount of information you can pick up from that, but mostly this is roads. How do you connect all the different locations, the cities, towns? How are those all linked together? All right, geographic map showing political boundaries. Here in South America, various countries, you do get a little bit of idea. You do know there's a mountain range there. You get an idea of density of population. You see all these cities and towns along the coast, and big portion here, Brazil, center area, very few towns and villages, lots of waterways, all tributaries to the Amazon. So as you can see just from this, and what you may already know of geography, the Amazon basin, very sparsely populated because very difficult jungle, very difficult to get into, lots of water. But again, out on the coasts, very much more densely populated, just from a little bit what you can see right there. All right, here's a topographic map, or topographic, your choice on how you say it. Again, has hills, valleys, water, and all the rest. All right. Sheet name, more information. Looks like we've got somebody coming to the classroom here. So let me see if we can hit pause and see what we can do here. All right, brief interruption there. It's okay. So map parts and symbols. Some of this information is going to be in the legend itself. The legend is one of those things you need to know about. That's the guide for what various symbols and colors and things like that on the map, what that is. Note there that they're not all the same on all road maps, so something to be aware of. So check each legend when you get it. They're just administrative information. Okay, colors. These for if you're on the leadership team, for example, you'll need to know this stuff. This would be good for you to know anyway. If you any of you attend JCLC next summer, there's a little bit of map reading when we go out to Camp Odyssey for those that are able and willing to do that. This will also help you in the competition. Blue, black, brown, green, and red. Some are pretty straightforward. Blue for water, brown for terrain or elevation data, green is vegetation, red for classical man-made features, and then black, of course, mostly roads, sometimes buildings as well. Okay. All right, let's hold up again. All right, here we go again. Okay, map symbols. Various things, roads, interchanges, railroads, that's what this symbol up here on the right is. Buildings, airports, again, usually looks like an airplane, or you'll actually see the runways depending on the size of it, what the scale of the overall map is. Water features, some of the rest. Okay. Additional symbols, oh my goodness. Okay, we'll keep going here. Follow the information there. Here's what a legend looks like. Again, here's an airport, hospital, church, things like that. Let's see, bar scale, and hold on. All right, bar scale. For what we're doing, it'll be yards and meters. Again, just depends on what the overall scale of the map is that you're doing. Okay. All right, listen up to this. We'll watch this.
There are many types of maps. The most common types of maps are city or state road maps, geographic maps, atlases, and topographic maps. City or state road maps provide information on street names, important buildings, route numbers, distance, and transportation. You can compare a map to any piece of equipment, but before you use it, you must first read the instructions. These instructions, known as the marginal information, can be found around the outer edge of a map. One of the most commonly used elements of marginal information found on a road map is a bar scale. A bar scale is a ruler used to measure actual ground distances by converting distances on a map. Because all features on a map cannot represent their true position and shape, map makers must use symbols to represent these features. These symbols are made to look as closely as possible to the actual features themselves as they are seen from above. The legend indicates the meanings of the symbols that are used on a map. Colors on a road map provide contrast to map features, making them easier to identify. Map symbols are usually printed in different colors, with each color identifying a class of features. However, colors may vary from one map to another. When used differently, map makers indicate these colors and their uses in the marginal information. These are the basic colors used on most road maps and are used to identify various features. For example, the color blue identifies water features such as lakes, swamps, bays, oceans, or rivers. Maps permit you to see an area of the Earth's surface with the key features of the area properly positioned. They can take the guesswork out of traveling to new locations, preventing wasted time and effort. Make the most of your trips. Knowing how to read and interpret maps can strengthen your awareness of the world around you.
All right. Gets us into a couple of questions. So while on a hike in the woods with a friend, you drop and break your only compass. After walking around for a while, you think that you may be lost. You hike to the top of a nearby hill and see two features that are also marked on the map. What steps should you do next to help find your way out of the woods? Should you try to trace your steps back to where you started? Should you orient your map so that the map is aligned with the terrain and landmarks? Should you immediately start walking towards one of the landmarks? Or should you have one person state your current location while the other starts going to a location that you chose on the map? Several that you could potentially try, but I think definitely the best answer here would be to orient your map so that the map is aligned with the terrain and landmarks, so you know where you are, and then figure out where to go from there. All right, next question. What information is commonly found on city maps? Is it street names, important buildings, route numbers, distance, recreational areas, historical areas, or all of the above? And in this case, it'd be all of the above. Okay, go through some reflection there. What are the things you need to look for on a map? What should you look for first? Like maybe the legend be a good one. Any administrative information to tell you about the map. Once you know how to read one map, will you be able to read any type of map? Why or why not? Something to think about there. Because there are differences between the types of maps, it may be a little more challenging, but there are some basics that do carry over. Understand how the map is laid out and how can the skill of map reading be useful to you. Okay, we're not going to do a quiz game there. So, all right. Blank maps show terrain and landforms in a way which can be measured. Which one of these would that be? Is it word, city, state, geographic, or topographic? And the answer there would be A, topographic. What is meant by the phrase to scale, as in a map being drawn to scale? Does that mean A, to fit inside the boundary of the edges of the paper, to check the accuracy of information detailed on the map, C, to show the climate, population, or relief of a certain geographic region, or D, with each set measurement on the scale representing a set amount of the Earth's surface? And D would be the correct answer for that one. Set measurements. Okay, so if you had a map of Paris, France, how could you navigate around the city? Or do you feel you could do that with confidence? How many of you have ever been to Kennywood or the Pittsburgh Zoo? Usually you get a map there. Doesn't look like the topographic map or a road map, but there are some basics there. It is done to scale, generally speaking. Lets you find relations between maybe the certain rides. Maybe you know that I can't remember the name of it. The one roller coaster at Kennywood that you really want to get on, but you know if there's a line, what else can you do in the area while you're waiting for the line to die down? Or if maybe only two of you in your group want to go on the big roller coaster, but you want to find something for somebody else to do. What else would be nearby to meet the needs of each person there? Can you get around Kennywood on your own? That's the big question. other things on like the Kennywood map, where the restrooms, where the food area. Say you want funnel cake. Where's the spot? And you have to use a legend for that. But where's the spot in Kennywood that you can get yourself that funnel cake that you're craving? So, okay. Talk about planning a trip. What else can you do with map information? And we've got the performance assessment task. We're not going to do that. All right. We're going to jump to some quick questions here. The vocabulary words for you to know about. So what is the definition of the word relief? Okay. Of the possible information here, go through the choices, read that. And I'm going to say that should be B, the shape of land formations on Earth's surface. How about the term intermittent, as in an intermittent stream? The idea there is that it does not flow all year round. It is alternately starting and stopping, coming at intervals. For example, right now, this time of year is very dry. We do have some intermittent streams on our farm that do not flow all the time, or at least very minimal flow. So intermittent. After good rain, they fill right up, but that does not last. Okay. Orient. That's the idea that we used that earlier phrase, orient yourself to the terrain, or orient the map to the landmarks that you see from that hilltop. So that would be D, to align or position yourself or a map in relation to one's surroundings. Definition of the word legend. It's not me. I'm not a legend. How about, no, okay, maybe we'll go back to C, an explanatory description on a chart, map, or other illustration. All right. Terrain. What is terrain? Let's see. Of the definitions here, looks like C would be the best response to that one. A region or tract of land, the character or topography of a tract of land. All right. Bar scale. What is a bar scale? So let's see, of those, no, it's not D, that was orient. Instructions placed around the outer edge of a map. Okay, how about A? I would just go with A. A ruler used to measure actual ground distances by converting distances on a map. Man-made, pretty straightforward. That would be manufactured, created, or constructed by man rather than formed by nature. Contrast. What is the difference here for contrast? All right, to show differences when compared. That's contrast. You do that in your English class too, I believe. All right, definition of the term topographic maps. So take a look at these, and it looks like D would be the best definition. It shows relief in the position of natural and man-made features. Marginal information, that's the instructions placed around the outer edge of the map. We saw that definition earlier. Landform. Best definition here. Natural man-made features on the Earth's surface. Elevation, height above sea level, or the Earth's surface. And one more, prominent. Something that stands out. So very noticeable, very conspicuous, well known. So that'd be C. All right. That's an intro to maps. We'll have more next week.